Good evening. I'm John Bailey. This is People to be Heard, the program where people who have something to say have their say. Tonight, you've got Seth Soloway, director of the Performing Arts Center at Purchase, to talk about perhaps the most exciting season PPAC has staged, the 18-19 season. And also, he has been interim director there for the last 2 years, right? And was appointed director last May. And I must say, how did you become interim director, and what was your vision coming in on perhaps the ultimate audition? A lot of pressure, 2 years as an interim guy.
Sure. It was a lot of pressure. Thank you very much, John. But I was grateful for the opportunity. It's an opportunity that I've sought for a very long time. I started my career as a stage director and then did a master's degree in arts administration and got to learn under great minds like Joe Malillo and Mark Routh from the Broadway Producers Group and wonderful, wonderful people, knowing that what I really wanted to do was community-based performing arts center type of work. And it took a long time. I was at the Paramount Theater in Peekskill in its previous iteration. My wife and I started a theater in Newburgh, New York, out of an old train station.
Yeah, that intrigued me with your biography there.
Sorry?
Intrigued me with the biography.
It was an interesting time.
Why did you want to do community theater?
Well, we didn't want to do community theater, actually. I'm a bit obsessed with the old regional theater movement, and I'm concerned this is, not really part of what I do now so much, although in a sense it is. But at the time, just very concerned with where new play development was going in this country. And so I really wanted to do a theater that I could artistic direct that focused on writers and the development of new plays. And the opportunity just came along, and we were younger and impetuous, and we just jumped on it. And unfortunately, we're not there anymore, but we did build that theater for that community, so we're very proud of that. And after that, I came to Purchase in what was purely a programming role, something of a lateral move for me at the time, but the reputation of Purchase was so great. And along the road in my career, I had been so close so many times to being named the director, and there was always we'd get to the final interview. I'll never forget, I did one, I won't say where, and we're in the house at the big dinner of the most fancy board member, and there's all these cords in the corner, and she says to me, "Oh, don't mind that, that's from when Obama was here for the Secret Service." And I'm thinking, okay, I finally made it. And then at some point it was always the same varietal of, we went with someone with a little bit more experience than you.
Yes.
It's hard to get to an institution to take a chance on a younger executive and a younger artistic director, and I have to be both. So I came to Purchase in a job that I knew I could do well at, that I knew I could help Purchase at as they were trying to make a turn, and felt like my work would stand for itself. And about a year in, I got called by the president's office and said to my boss, the director at the time, I think you ought to know, the president wants to see me, I don't know why. And he said, "I'm going to tell you why." And he was retiring. And at that time, it was a quick transition. So we had to agree, for the interim. And then at that point, yes, I spent 2 years showing what I could do, which I was very grateful for the opportunity for.
Yeah, well, as I can tell, the fair that you have been able to book has really been much more interesting than in the past. All sorts of variety. In fact, let's show some slides of the shows coming up.
Wonderful.
What was your vision in putting this together? There's the one coming up on the 10th of February, and as we roll through the slides, we can see the diversity, and there's various. Everyone can see, just as these go by, that you are getting quite a range of, you're appealing to quite a range of audiences.
We're certainly trying to, and I think, the vision has a lot of what I call tentacles, but at its core, we're looking at this debate nationally in the arts, where how do we draw new audiences? How do we draw the audiences we were already drawing when we all have everything at our fingertips right at home, and we can pause it and get our own glass of wine that's not $12 and our own food and sit on the couch and all these things? And I think the answer is, it's our job to replicate the living room. The Performing Arts Center and all of these places, they have to be a living room for the community. We can't just expect you to buy a ticket, see the show, go home. great things happen in the living room, right? Conversations, meals. So we're trying to diversify to provide this living room feel. And at the same time, we at Purchase felt that what we were doing at the center was very transactional. We were booking artists, they were coming in, they were eating a free sandwich, they were warming up, they were performing, they were out the door before I could get backstage to thank them. And we're a great arts college, and we have students who are studying to be the future artists. So
in fact, you have one that you went to Purchase that's performing this spring.
Cyril Amy.
Yes.
And we're very proud of her.
Well, that's what it's all about.
So she's a great product of this, and we feel we can do more when the artists come on the campus, they stay for longer, and instead of just presenting what they already have, they make new art on the campus. The students get to learn from them, the community gets to watch it, and then we have this great living
violin,
room.
which I saw.
Wasn't that great?
You did that. You involved the community orchestras, and I was amazed that they performed so wonderfully with the artists. Talk about Black Violin. How did you find them?
It's an amazing thing. So when I was the education director at Brooklyn Center for the Performing Arts at Brooklyn College, while I was doing my graduate work, for whatever reason I happened to be up late enough to see Showtime at the Apollo one night. And Black Violin at the time was just Kevin and Will, the two guys. They had won a record amount of times in a row, and I thought, how great would this be for students? And I couldn't find an agent. So I called the record label, and the guy who answered said, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but call your manager. I'm sure, maybe they'll be interested. I called the manager, they were interested, but they showed up at Brooklyn Center, and there really was no show at that point. But they just started putting it together, and I gave them some tips, and then I helped them find their first agent, and 15 years later, we have this great relationship, and anytime we can work together, we do, and this was a great collaboration. We put 80 students on stage with them in a student orchestra symphonic performance. 40 of those were our Purchase Symphony Orchestra, and the rest were local high school students. So what an amazing door to open for all those students, we thought. And it's a great day. The guys spend all day rehearsing with the orchestra, and then it happens that one time only at Purchase.
That theater shook. It was packed. It was packed, and they just roared and applauded. Incredibly. The building shook at the end of that performance, as it did throughout it. Now, did you ever have experience pulling in students to do a performance with artists?
We have, and we're starting to do it more. We're doing a lot of commissioning of new work in dance. 2 years ago, I did a new piece with Doug Verone, and we put 8 of our student dancers into the piece. And we're going to continue to do projects like this. We can't do it every time, but what we're also going to start to welcome the community to, we have a community engagement director now, and his role is to invite the students into the room with the artists and invite the community to watch. So you're going to start to see more and more things that are part of an experience at the center, and that's what I mean when I talk about the living room. You're not just going to come and watch the show, but you'll come and enjoy what will be our future cafe, and then afterwards we may have a Q&A or an event for children or both.
Yeah, that is Jacob Burns Film Center uses that Q&A and artist appearance hook quite successfully to build quite a loyal core. Now, do you feel, as we live in this greatest of all seasons for Broadway and the arts in the New York area, what do you think we need more of? More art, diversification, more theater, more cinema, more dance, more mainstream pop, more concerts?
I think we have a tremendous opportunity here in Westchester. I grew up in New York City, so I always had access, and we weren't very wealthy, but we found a way because it was all there. And in coming here, I've never seen a place like this. We have so much here in Westchester, and so it gives us all a great advantage because I believe in high tides raises all boats when it comes to the arts. We don't have a lot of convincing to do for people to leave their houses necessarily because there's so many options with us and Caramore and the Tarrytown Music Hall and all of these amazing institutions.
But they don't run 10 months.
Yeah, so I think what we have to do is just continue to work together to make sure that we've got a great arts ecosystem here in Westchester. I think all the variety is there, and there's more to discover. In addition to the Performing Arts Center, we have the Newberger Museum of Art on the campus, which is one of the greatest museums anyone's ever seen.
We often go there, and always impressed by seeing stuff I would never have seen.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that it's on
It
a
is,
college campus.
Yes, for a college campus, absolutely. And how is your new schedule this fall? We showed what's coming up. Doing at the box office, is it working?
I think it's starting to work. I
Yeah.
do. You know, you saw what we had for Black
Yes.
Violin.
Yeah.
The whole idea is we come from a history in the performing arts that is based on subscription, similar to the sports season ticket model.
Yeah.
And you're locked in to your package. So, and that locks me in as a curator. Because if I have an orchestra series, I have to have this many. If I have a dance series, I have to have this many. And you end up sort of filling slots, which is a term as an artistic curator that I just hate, because it eliminates my choice, and my choice is for the people. So part of what we've done is we've broken away from a lot of those subscription packages, because the modern audience, you know, both people that haven't been coming to the arts and frankly people that have, nobody buys like that anymore. If I say to you, John, you know, you got to buy tickets for something now that's in June, there's going to be a million factors.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be that way. So we've broken away from that. We do a lot more create your own subscription packages. We have recommended packages from the artists, but we also do a lot more single ticket business. But what that's allowed me to do is create this great variety and do what I call multi-pronged shows. So when you saw Black Violin, you saw an incredible variety of audience in that room, and that's what we're trying to create every time.
Well, we saw an incredible show, too.
So that
And
was a great success.
They have been all over the country, and who knew? Who knew of them?
Well, everyone will know soon.
Yeah.
I will just say, I'm not allowed.
true.
I'm sure I shouldn't
Are
say
they
too
coming
much.
back?
Oh, they'll be back, and their new
Okay.
record, I think, will put them in a place not yet
they
seen.
seem to really dig it. They didn't want it to end.
No, they don't.
They
don't.
did not want it
And
to
that's
end.
part of it. You know, we want the community to feel like these artists are part of the fabric. They're part of the community. They're accessible to us. You can spend time with them. So as we do these things, you know, we see it grow and grow and grow. You know, we've really rededicated to families, and all of that work. We've watched those audiences go up and up and up. And part of that is because, to me, it's very important, and I always say, you know, if I'm going to miss the football game on a Sunday to take my niece and nephew to a show, I
You're
better
not
enjoy
missing
it too.
anything if you
Well,
miss the
that's
football
true,
game,
too.
because look at this last weekend.
Especially as a
Nobody's
Jets
happy
fan.
with it. Yeah. Well, pro football in New York is getting back into the terrible 20 years of lousy football.
But
that's
what
another
what
story.
I want is for you to enjoy it as much as the kids do.
Yes.
And so we're seeing that, and then we put these activities before or after the show. The activity we did for Circa, which was a Cirque-based company for young people, in a show called Carnival of the Animals. I mean, we didn't have enough space for the amount of children that wanted to participate in this workshop.
That's a good problem to have.
And the show next Saturday is completely sold out, Diavolo, which is a combo dance and family show. So as we do this multi-pronged programming, we are seeing the audiences really grow.
Yeah. So the now, if people want to learn about this, we go to www.artscenter.org, which is will tell you all about these shows that we showed you earlier in the show, and that are coming up. And also, you can click on family programs.
Yes,
and
you
all
can.
that.
You can search the site by what you want to see. We've just added that as a new update to the website. So you can look for family, you can look for jazz, you can look for dance, you can look for.
Yeah, certainly a much better website than any, shall I say, public website.
Well,
Government
I hope
websites,
So.
right.
We're working very, very hard on that. I would also say we're very, very active on our social media channels. So it's a great place to engage with
Is
us.
social media the way to attract audience these days?
I think it's certainly the way to attract certain segments of the audience. And I think, you know, I always try to listen to my experts. I'm in my job, and then I've got experts in every area. So we've got a great team in community engagement, in publicity, in marketing, and we take a lot of guidance from those folks. You know, we find the social media is not always necessarily tied to a ticket purchase, but that's okay. What it ties to is engagement. People are talking to us on our social media channels. They're finding ways to reach out to me and ask me questions. And that's a great, great thing, because at my core, I'm there to serve the public. You know, I never pick shows because I like them. I pick them to serve Westchester County. So if the people can tell me things, good, bad, ugly, in the middle, I want to hear them all, and social media is great for that.
Yeah. How do you plan more opening of other Purchase facilities other than the beautiful large theater for performances or professional groups? In other words, get rentals?
Yeah, so I would tell you first and foremost, within the Performing Arts Center, there are actually 4 theaters, but most of the public has only ever been in 3 of them. And we've started to open up our black box theater for events like the Robin Spielberg event, which is designed to be like a supper club event a la 54 Below. You're going to have a very classy, intimate evening with this artist and a 3-course meal from a fantastic chef. And you're going to be in our black box, which is one of the largest black boxes in the country on a college campus. It's like an airplane
on
hangar.
campus.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. The big scene and all that jazz was shot in that room, so it's got a room with great history. So we're opening up parts of the center that we haven't opened up before. We're using the lobby more and more. And then in addition, the college does look forward to the opening of the Center for Media and Film Technology, which is just across the way from the center.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's a beautiful new building that's going to house both our, and again, I'm not central to this, so I apologize to my colleagues in advance if I misquote a little bit, but it's going to house our theater arts department, it's going to house our film department. My understanding, and I did do a walkthrough way back when, is that it's got excellent screening rooms for film, the films that our students make, and also maybe small films that we want to show. It's got a few nice little theaters where we'll have some of our student productions.
Would you program movies there?
Yeah, we may. So
Good.
it's another great option.
And what you seem to be doing, which Broadway theater does not do, is you're trying to treat the guests like kings and queens. We're happy to have you here. You actually open the theater more than 30 minutes in advance, which has always irritated me about the Broadway theaters. They treat you like they're herding you in, always.
You know, I certainly believe that goes right to the living room concept. I want you to come to the center. I want you to feel welcome. We're now working on adding a cafe in the lobby, which I hope will open in the fall. We're in an RFP process for that. And what that I hope will do, we'll open the building an hour before, and that will not be a cookie. That will be, come have your dinner and get a glass of wine or a soda or a cup of coffee. And then we're pairing that in a lot of places with pre-show talks with the artists. So, you know, the perfect day to me would be if you come this Saturday to see the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center next year, and our cafe was open, so you'd come, you could have lunch or a snack at 3:30, and then the artists are going to sit down and talk with you upstairs at 4:15, and then you're going to have the concert.
All right. What do the arts need now in terms of training, introducing young people to the arts, and the benefits of performance involvement in future careers?
Well, you know, it's an interesting question for me because I come both from first, you know, wanting to be a stage director and then shifting my gaze to being an arts manager. And, you know, that came from a desire to be an artistic director, but I fell in love with the executive director part of my role too. So I think on the creative side, you know, what we look at Purchase is we need to give our students access to the people who are making art now so they can learn from them and learn how to be makers, learn how to make their own work happen, learn how to collaborate with each other. How does the dancer who wants to make a great piece with new media collaborate with the filmmaker? That's our responsibility to teach them. On the management side, I think, you know, I love that arts management programs are now popping up all over the country. We need trained arts managers, is my belief. We have to make this more of a codified industry with common practices and common ethics and collaboration. And so I think those are the two things that I hope to see, and I certainly feel like we're doing a really good job at Purchase.
Yes, how closely allied are you with the arts faculty in this?
We're intertwined. We are fundamentally a department of the college. Our mission is in service to the mission of the college. I'm very proud to be a part of a group of 5 deans and directors on the campus, and we meet regularly to work up these collaborations. You know, your wonderful words about the Black Violin event, for example, that doesn't happen without fantastic collaboration from my colleagues, the dean of the School of the Arts and the chair of the music department.
So you would say Purchase is, we can do this. That's their philosophy.
Absolutely.
Instead of, oh, we just can't do that.
Well,
we've never done that before.
Our college's, the college vision statement is to think wide open, and that's really what we're doing in the arts.
Right. And what do you attribute this to?
There's great leadership. We have great leadership. We have a cabinet that is really supportive of the arts, that understands the purpose of it, but also making sure that we balance the liberal arts and sciences and that everything is included. So we had a great event earlier in the year with American String Quartet and Salman Rushdie, and that was all about welcoming both the music fans but also the literature students.
It's fantastic. Are you pursuing more performances for minority audiences of the county?
Absolutely, absolutely. So nothing that I do is without a phenomenal amount of research. When I came, I was fortunate to first curate the 40th anniversary season, and curating a big anniversary like that has some great leads for someone like me in terms of what we're going to do to celebrate the history, but it also gave me time to do my homework on who was out there, who were we serving really well, and who were we not serving really well. And that research led a lot of places, primarily families. Families are really important in Westchester, and then there's a burgeoning Latino audience that we're trying very hard to serve, and also looking at our arts education programs and making sure that access is there on every level for every single student, because that really is the path to the love of the arts, we believe. If you go as a child, it becomes ingrained.
Right. I mean, my daughter still gets great deal of benefit out of her career in ice skating, and she's not afraid of anything.
Yes, exactly
and
right.
fear is always the hunter. When you're afraid to do something, you're not going to perform well. So confidence is important. So, what would be the possibilities of combining more communities in the future around the county on the arts level?
I think when we open up our offerings, there's great possibility. When we do what I talked about in terms of eliminating these very tight subscription packages and look at programs that have more opportunities to bring more folks in. I also think, as we work together with the great people in the county who can help us, we have a great program coming up next week. We get a wonderful gift from the Zissin Foundation, and it's aimed at bringing students who might not make it to the theater on a very special day. And the reason they might make it to might not make it to the theater is because they are Title IX students, which means they get the free lunch. And if they miss that lunch, they may not eat lunch that day. So these wonderful folks at the Zissin Foundation not only pay for the tickets and provide the buses, but they throw this great lunch for the kids, and it allows us to bring those students in. So I think that's a key too. There's wonderful people in this county who really want to help, and the more we all work together, the more we can create access.
Right. Now, once again, the website is artscenter.org, where you can learn all about the programs we showed you that are coming up earlier in the program, and we'll sort of show them as we go to the last portion of the program. So where do you go from here? Is there a dream for the arts program at Purchase that you can now see within reach? What is that dream?
Yeah, the dream is certainly to keep going on everything we've established. This vision that I talked about, no one hatches that on their own. That was thought up in consultation with my colleagues on the campus, and we are dedicated to seeing it through. So you're going to continue to see us grow in terms of how much new work we incubate. When I first started, I think maybe we did 1 commission. Next year, I've got 4 just in dance. So we're going to continue to be able to say that all this great art that's going to tour all over the world was made right here in Westchester, and continue to dedicate to that. We're going to continue to dedicate to this concept of the living room. As I said, it's not enough that I've added community engagement. Now we're working to add a cafe and open the building earlier, as you say, so people feel more and more welcome. We're going to make some upgrades to the building and the surrounding area to continue to make it feel more welcome. And hopefully when we get to a place where every show feels like, that to me, the greatest gift I can get is someone who describes something, what we did, like Black Violin, the way you did. And when we get to that on every show, I'll be happy.
My wife saw that, and she said, maybe we should go to this. So she always has unerring instincts. But
And it's best to listen to them.
what?
And it's best to listen to them.
Yes. No, one thing a husband should always do is listen to his wife.
Absolutely.
And do what she says. Yeah. The other ways are not productive. And how do you plan to really involve, recruit students, for the arts, for academically? Is that as part of your vision?
Yes. We work very hard to make sure that the season that I curate is reflective of what they're learning in the classroom, that the artists that we bring, particularly the new work that we commission, can help build their education and make them more prepared to go out into the world and be the next Cyril Amy and the next great artists of the future. So when I'm looking at, for example, dance companies, I'm looking for something that can help underline what they're learning, and I'm working with my colleagues on the campus to make sure that I understand what's critically important in the classroom pedagogically so that I can mirror it at the Performing Arts Center.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's see, we have about a minute to go. Do you have a last message you want to send out to the patrons of the arts?
I would say just that we really appreciate them, and personally, since you asked about it, I'm thrilled to be the director and to be here. Purchase has been a jewel of the arts for a long time, and we really intend to keep it there, and we love being part of the great arts ecosystem here in Westchester.
Oh. Last 40 seconds, what was your biggest thrill?
Oh gosh.
In the artistic.
So there, there's so many things, but I will say, a couple of years ago, we commissioned a new piece from Doug Verone, and we put 8 of our dancers in the piece, and afterwards, and I've been blessed to meet a lot of celebrities in what I do, but after that, I was approached by a lot of these students' parents with tears in their eyes about the opportunity that we had created, and there's just nothing, there's nothing quite like that. And then I would also say, to get to be at the helm, after I talked about the hurdles in my career, to get to be at this point in my career and get to be at the helm of this great historic organization as we celebrated the 40th anniversary, that was really an honor.
Well, Seth Soloway, director of the Performing Arts Center, Purchase College, you have been heard. This is John Bailey for People to be Heard. Good night.